Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is DelaCriss. I'm just gonna go ahead and hop into this video because, to be honest, I've been putting it off for too long and it just needs to get done. I shared over on my Instagram a while back. I shared 5 practical, positive, and personal things that Black people can do to help racial reconciliation and just the issues going on in our country. And at the end of the post, it got a lot of love, a lot of shares, and at the end of the post I said I will be sharing practical and positive and personal tips that white people can take in order to help with racial reconciliation. And this was months ago and I didn't share it, I think honestly because of fear, to be real, because I know that this is a hard topic. I know that people get really sensitive about it, but if you've been around my channel for a while, you know my heart behind all of this is always just love and a desire to challenge all of us as people to come together and to see healing. So I'm gonna stick to what I said and I'm gonna share these tips. I decided to just do a video about this because hopefully you can see my tone, hopefully you can hear more of my heart, and I do need to go back and do a video version of the tips that I shared on Instagram, but let's just hop into it. And another reason some of y'all are wondering, well, why now, like, why are you doing this video? A lot of you guys are, honestly, if you're honest, you're wondering why Black people took what happened at the Capitol recently and turned it into a racial thing. Y'all, it's so hard not to, because as a Black person, when you watch what happened, even before I got on social media, I was genuinely confused. I'm like, how did these people get into the Capitol with their feet on the desk? And there were dogs and guards and everything at some of the peaceful protests that were happening after the murder of a Black person. And so it was just a picture of privilege and it was hard to swallow. And so that's a whole video in itself, but I did want to throw that out there. So let's just hop into these tips. I know this is going to be a more challenging video. Lord, have your way. Let your people hear my heart. Let me only say what you want me to say. Okay, tip number 1 is to educate yourself. If you're a white person entering into this space of talking about race and talking about just the things going on in our country, understand that you are entering into a conversation that many of us have been having for years, and maybe a conversation, depending on your background, that you've been able to opt out of. And so there's a lot of learning and catching up that you need to do. There are a lot of good books and resources that you can read. I will try to link some below, but also be very careful about the fact that most of the items that we use for education, especially in the faith world, are written by white people. And so really try to diversify who you're even learning from. Try to find some Black people who have been studying this for years and living this for years and mix it up with some of the things that you're reading. Number 2 is to pray. And really this should have been number 1. And here's the deal, guys. When you pray to God of the universe, not the God that was made up by our country, but God of the Bible, I have no doubt in my mind that he is going to reveal to you the evil, for the lack of a better word, that happens in our country and that happens to Black people. And you don't have to argue with anybody. You don't have to, like, you can pray for free and you can pray every day and you can tell the Lord, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I stand with all of this. Here's what I struggle with. You can be honest with him and just keep consistently praying that prayer until he reveals to you truth and what he would have you to do. Number 3, please hear me. Stop fighting the idea, of white privilege. Guys, I tell people all the time, I say, listen, I have 2-parent household privilege. I didn't do anything to earn it. I didn't do anything to deserve it, but I do live in the privilege of that every day, even now. So I would never argue with a person that grew up in a 1-parent household that there weren't some things that I was allowed in my life because of the fact that I had 2 parents. I would never argue with someone about that. Does it mean I didn't work hard and I didn't focus? No, it doesn't. But I have to walk in that privilege. And what that looks like is there's some things that I saw in marriage, or some things that I experienced, and I shared that freely with my friends and people that I love because I knew it was privilege, right? And so white privilege doesn't mean you didn't do anything to, like, you didn't work hard to get where you are, or that you are racist. It doesn't mean any of that, right? We got to stop talking about it like it's a dirty phrase or a dirty word. It just is what it is. There are so many ways that you can use that white privilege and walk in it in a way where you can stand in the gap for us. Number 4, just listen. There's a lot of talking, a lot of barking, a lot of all this going back and forth, and nobody is listening. And we can never bring unity and bridge the gap if everybody's coming to the table offended and everybody's coming to the table not ready to listen. Listen to the stories that people are telling you, the reality of the lives we're living in. Take off your lenses of how you were raised, what your parents told you. Just listen. Number 5, put your money where your mouth is. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. For a long time in America, slavery was the capital in our capitalism. Okay. So it's a very simple formula. A lot of work was being done. No pay was being given. Money was built. Okay, and so a lot of the generational wealth that some white people experience, listen to my language, because people always get ready to attack these videos and say, I said everybody, all white people rich. I never said it. That some white people experience, a lot of the generational wealth that they experience, it comes from the head start of slavery. No one's saying we're still angry about slavery. No one's saying we're making that as an excuse. Guys, again, we're looking at history. Okay, we're looking at history. And so put your money where your mouth is. And this goes back to also the whole idea. So if you think that black people are lazy, black people are poor, and I'm not saying there aren't poor white people and poor white people who started from the bottom and now they're here and they did their thing. I get it. And I applaud you. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. Okay. I am saying that if you're a white person and you have a lot of income, or you just have a level of influence or position, and this goes back to the white privilege, right? There's a way that you can use that can make a positive impact right where you are. And let me give you an example of this. And I will tell anybody this. I'm very honest about this. There are certain things that happened in my life by the grace of God. And there are certain people, white people, who said, I see something in you. I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I see something in you. I'm going to make sure you are able to compete in this program. And I'm going to pay for this. I'm going to do this. The most recent example, I currently go to a predominantly white church. Well, the leadership is predominantly white. Some of these white people, they said, you know what? We see something in you. We want to help you get your pastoral credentials. And so they have paid for it. They have made the way. And y'all, when we talk about making an impact in our circle, that's what we're talking about. And it goes back to the same thing with my privilege of growing up in a 2-parent household, or my privilege of even being able to be a stay-at-home mom. I look in little pockets and see where I can make an impact with my privilege. So it is the same thing. Nobody's asking for a handout. Nobody's asking for petty. No, I'm saying if you want to make right now a practical, personal, and positive impact, you can put your money where your mouth is. There's so many things that can be done. If you're looking at someone like, man, I love what they're doing, I wish they knew X, Y, and Z, take them there. Write the checks, make the way, make room, share the platform, do what you can do right in your space. And we got to go beyond paying for an athlete to come to our private school so that we can win. So we both know we got to get beyond that. Things that where we may never see the fruit of it. It may never benefit you, but you believe that this is a role that you can play. Number 6, build a genuine relationship with a Black person. Y'all, when things go down and a Black person is murdered or racial injustice is happening, it hits different when you can attach your friend's face to that person. When you have sat and broke bread with someone who is Black and has told you their experience in America as a Black person, it hits different. I promise. Because then at that point, you have a human experience, a human string, a human connection. So you're less interested in arguing back and forth on social media and more interested in being a part of the change, because you don't want your friend to go through that. You don't want your friend's kids to go through that. You don't want to go to their funeral. Okay? Get your friend. And I'm not talking about the Black person, the one Black person that is conveniently all the places that you go that says things like, well, I don't experience racism, or I want to try this. If there's a Black person in your space and they're saying that all of the things that are going on, all the things that are being said, they're not real, they don't experience it, they don't know what Black people are talking about, that person has assimilated. That person saying that, okay, disconnecting yourself from the Black culture as a Black person is a trauma response. It's a trauma response, okay? That person needs space to heal. You need to be friends with someone who is very much connected to who their creator created them to be, okay? Be friends with them and be committed to that relationship, because let me tell you something, it's going to get hard. And there are going to be hard conversations that are going to be had. And it's going to get awkward. But when you love someone, it just hits different. And number 7, the last one, do not be silent. It's an incredible thing that I had some friends that we could talk about everything together. Everything. The moment it comes to race, and the moment it comes to what is happening in this country, silent. Silent almost to where they've signed an oath saying that they won't go there. And the problem with that is we don't have that option. As Black people in America, we can't sit at our dinner table and not talk about the things that are going on in the news, because we have to train our kids to know, don't you ever walk up to the Capitol like that, because it won't end the same for you. Y'all, these are just my humble suggestions. This is what I would want from a white friend in a time like this. And my heart behind this all is that we would all do our part. It's really going to take all of us. It's really going to take all of us. And when I say don't be silent, I'm not talking about getting on Facebook. I'm talking about you're like, you know what? I don't know what I believe. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to keep going to the Lord until he reveals to me what he would have me to do. Because he could just have you, mama, if you're a stay-at-home mom, he could be having you to raise up your children to be world changers. You could be equipping your children to change the way they view people and change the way they see the world, because they're going to be in a level of influence one day that maybe you don't have. So maybe you're committed to that. Maybe you're committed to telling them the hard things and saying the hard things, and stop and not sweeping it under the rug, because that doesn't help anybody. Anyways, guys, this is just heavy on my heart right now, and I'm always open for discussion. I delete crazy rude comments. I just do, because I don't have time for that. But challenge, I'm gonna put this under my challenging conversation video, whatever you call it. But comment below if you have genuine questions. I want to answer them. I want to discuss. I want us to learn from one another. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video.